Hello y'all on YouTube, this is Rob with Rob's Nerdy Knives. Today we have a very special review, impressions of a Les George knife loaned to me by Billy, thank you. This is the Les George VECP Buttonlock. Let's take a look at this. All right, today we're looking at the VECP Buttonlock by Les George. This is a stonewashed titanium and Magnacut knife. Very, very, very cool knife. We have a buttonlock and thumb studs on this little guy. Not a little guy, what am I saying? It's a big guy. Let's talk about the knife name. The knife name on this one is the Les George VECP Buttonlock. And VECP stands for, if I'm not mistaken, Value Engineering Change Proposal is what that VECP stands for. And this is the buttonlock. And you'll notice here's the buttonlock, but there's something here in the back, which seems like, why is that sticking out? It doesn't move, only this button works. Well, that's part of this really cool engineering on this knife. The buttonlock here just is robust and strong and fantastic. So we're going to take a look at that. The knife manufacturer is Les George. As I open this, you'll see Les George, made in the USA. So this is a USA-made knife. The designer is Les George himself. So if you're not familiar with Les George, he is the designer for this particular knife. Just a really, really neat, classic, iconic sort of designer out there. You'll see some of his influences on a lot of the other production knives that are out there, but ProTech has a bunch that are very interesting as well as their automatics. But this is the one made by him in the USA. And it's not a cheap knife, but it's not a crazy expensive knife as it could be like a custom. There are much more expensive versions of this if you're interested. The materials, titanium. We are dealing with titanium handles. They are stone washed, which is cool. There's a little weight relief in this larger scales. The smaller one, I had an ESV or whatever, that was not much weight relief and it was way heavier. But there's some good weight relief in here. It does have two standoffs in the back. You'll notice that. It does have a hole for a lanyard loop, which is interesting. It does have the clip, which is relatively deep pocket carry clip, so you're about that far, but you still have the lanyard loop hole. It is reversible, which I thought was interesting. So right hand, left hand, tip up only on a button lock is nice. You do have the button lock here, which is kind of recessed, so it's out of the way, but this is the back part, so it allows you to go all the way through and still have this nice thickness. You have thumb studs, and one side, the thumb studs are a little bigger than the other, which makes sense if you think about the overall ergos on this one. The axis, it is a little chamfered on this side, and this one is a little more square, slightly less chamfered, but anyways, you have beautiful dead nut centering on this one, and it is a button lock, so it has a plunge lock that you deal with. Stone-washed Magnacut blade, which is beautifully stone-washed polished. I love that. It's got that kind of aggressive jimping up on top, which is typical of that Les George knife. I don't know if you call this a drop point. I think this is more of a drop point. The other one I had was straighter. This one's dropping, so this is more of a drop point with that kind of aggressive look up there. It almost looks like wrinkles or helmet or something, you know, like a military helmet on top of a drop point, like I'm ready to go to battle or something, right? It is captive pivot, if you notice that. Big, giant, I don't know, that looks like a T15, T25. I don't know how big that pivot is, but this one is phosphor bronze, and the action is ridiculously beautiful. And you'll notice dead nut centering, no blade play on this, and the lock here, if you'll notice when I click that, it goes all the way through in the back, and you need that little extra room to disengage around that very thick blade stock thickness. But when it locks in there, it is solid. It is in there really solid. It feels really like a very robust sort of knife you could really work well with. But it's a button lock, and I'm always cautious with plunge locks and any button lock. I almost feel like a liner lock, a frame lock is going to be better, and then above that, then get a fixed blade, and above that, get an axe, right? Just my 2 cents on there. Button locks, I think, is beautiful. It can be a robust, good use tool, but you got to keep in mind vibrations, and movement of a plunge lock. There's things that can occur. It is a spring pushing against the plunge on there, and what I mean by plunge is that you have this plunge area, and then it comes down and engages an angle, and if there's enough vibration, that spring gets pushed up, and it pushes up, and then it could pop it out, right? I don't know if that's the case here. It just seems like this is like really well built and would be hard to do, but I'm always going to say a little caution with that. So still fantastic, fantastic. All right, so we do have a button lock that it disengages the lock and open and close, so you could do that, but you can also open and close with the button lock as well, so you have multiple openings as far as that's concerned. There's no bonus really flick here. It's just thumb studs, but both thumb studs work left and right-handed, and over here left and right-handed as well. And I almost want to push that one, right? It's always on the back part here. So when I grip up here, I don't find it. You could kind of choke up here, but even then, my fingers are like this right here. I don't feel like that's going to be in the way. You have a lot of room on this one. I have large hands with big, meaty fingers. Plenty of room for extra large, double extra large hands with big meaty fingers. And then if you wanted to, and you have really, really gigantic Shaquille O'Neal hands, you could go all the way out there and it still would feel really comfortable. Nice little finger guard area here. Everything's chamfered beautifully. No sharp edges anywhere. I love, 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 love that. If I didn't tell you, I love it. Everything up here works really well. This is it's not superly aggressive, but when I push down, it locks me in place. I had the ESV and it wasn't as aggressive. This one's better. To me, I like this a little more. Feels more solid in place. You can see where the plunge lock goes in, and that's a very robust part of the blade. I think that's really cool. It's very different than what you see with other button locks. To me, it just seems like, I don't know, they went out of their way to work well. It's got a nice swedge on top, which is nice for navigating a cut. A lot of times swedges, if you didn't know, they can be aesthetic, beautiful, but they can also be very functional. A lot of times they're like on a ship. You want to navigate. If you want to turn left, you turn your rudder left, and you want to turn right, you turn your rudder right, and that's what it is. It acts like a rudder and guides you through the cut. So that's really the point of a swedge. It assists you in cutting like thick leather, thick plastic, thick cardboard. So just keep that in mind. It is stone washed, beautifully stone washed and polished stone washed. So that's going to take abuse and use well. I like that. This is a loaner. I didn't do any sort of abuse test. I didn't do anything. When I'm allowed to check out somebody's very nice collection or a nice knife, I take very good care of it. I don't do anything crazy. I want to make sure I return it in the exact same condition I got it. So I did not do that at all. But I just got a chance to handle it and just feel it in my hand and feel how it works. It is gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous. This is a knife I would like to get to my collection. I absolutely could see myself getting one of these. I just need to find one when they're available. They drop and they're gone. So you got to keep an eye out for them. You got to be looking for them to find them. That's the trick with these. DLT seems to be the one place where they seem to pop up. So anyways, really nice. The clip works in and out of the pocket. Not a whole lot of room, but it will work. It will hold it in place. It is rounded, so there's no sharp spots. Oops. I squeeze down. I don't have any hot spots, any edges, anything that's going to cut into me and be uncomfortable. I like that. I like that a lot. So that is as far as the lock type, how it opens, how it closes. And again, that phosphor bronze action is just ridiculously amazing. I don't know how else to describe that. That's just beautiful. Blade is beautiful. Magnacut. I don't know what the HRC on these guys are. I'm going to assume 62, 63 at least. I don't know. If you guys know, let me know in the comments down below. I'd love to hear from you. Down below that way. I'm trying to point with my left hand. I'm doing this, like comments over here. I don't know. Sorry. Usually I do it with the right hand. All right. The blade is, I love this blade. Nice, thick, robust blade. Definitely going to be a good poker, cutter, getting into dog food, cat food, fertilizer, mulch, cases of water, all the different things you need to work with, boxes, Amazon boxes, letters. This is great. All right, so let's do some measurements on this guy because it does have some weight relief, so I'm not sure. I still feel like it's going to be almost 5 ounces. I don't know. If not, it's going to be just under 5 ounces, but I feel like it's going to be close. Let's see. 5.1 ounces. So yeah, 5.1 ounces. Definitely not a super light knife, but let's see how long it is. It's definitely not a short knife either. I think it's definitely over 8 inches. So let's see. We're looking at a knife that is 8 3/8 of an inch long. So that's pretty good. The overall handle length that you're dealing with is 4 inches. If you go over to the quarter, you got like 4 1/4. If you do the choke up, which you very well can do choke up on this one, you got 4 3/4 of an inch. Plenty of room for large hands. Overall blade length, you're looking at 3.5, just over 3.5. No, 3.5 if you look, 3.5 if you look at the bottom down there. So 3.5. Overall cutting length is, it's right between 3 3/8 and 3.5. So I'm going to say 3 and 3. Let's just do 8 3/8. 3 3/8. So it's definitely over 3 inches. So keep that in mind. That's something to certainly remember. All right, so let's look at the blade stock thickness. I think this is where we're going to be a little bit, where does all that weight coming from? It's weight relief in the titanium. It's big slabs of titanium, yeah. But where's all the weight? Well, I think it's in the blade. So let's see. I'm guessing 140th of an inch. No, 151 thousandths of an inch. So it is not a thin blade stock. This has definitely got some robust steel into it, right? This big slab of Magnacut. It does have a flat grind, comes down here, pretty thin, sharp edge down there. It'll work well. I think that's pretty nice. So I think you'll enjoy that, but it is pretty thick overall. So just keep that in mind. All right, so what does this fall into? Is it a budget, regular, high-end, custom mid-tech? So it's definitely over $100 budget, so anything under 100. Regular is between $100 and $300. This is in the high end. It's between $300 and $600. This usually runs $425. That was the last time they were listed. Prices could go up. As of this video, that's what's the last listing of it, $425. They have some versions with different milling textures and things like that. Does make it significantly more, and if he ever does Damascus, obviously all those prices are subject to whatever the cost of those materials are at the time. But $425, USA-made knife, fantastic button lock. I mean, for $425, this is an outstanding button lock. I would love to get one of these in my collection. Just simply phenomenal. Yeah, I really, 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 really dig this. All right, so is it an EDC hard use collection piece? I would say it's a collection piece. Les George is obviously most of his stuff. If it's USA made, Les George made, it's absolutely a collection piece. Every piece that I collect, I carry and I use, and I would absolutely carry and use this. Would I go chopping down trees and no, it's a button lock, first of all, so I wouldn't do that. But second of all, I wouldn't abuse a knife like this. It's something I'd carry, and I'd carry probably, along with it, I'd probably carry like a fixed blade. So I have a fixed blade that I could then use to cut my other stuff, right? So that's what I would have along with that. Could it be hard use? I think so. Hard use relative for a button lock. I mean, now this is a more robust button lock I've ever seen. And so this is a very strong button lock. I'm curious if anybody's done any sort of stress test. It's not my knife. I'm not going to stress test this, but I'm curious if anybody's done that and see how well it's held up. I bet it holds up really well. For sure, absolutely EDC 100%. Okay, overall handles and opening and closing, the handles are phenomenal. So this is the absolute beautiful chamfering all the way around here. You'll notice that the handles are really, really phenomenal as far as that. The chamfering comfort, everything is great. I can feel great comfort choking up back here. Just really great presentation on this. It's solid. Handles are beautiful. Love the weight relief. Everything feels good. The balance of the knife is about right there, right where your hands are. So you feel it feels balanced in your hand. I love that. Opening and closing is great. The thumb studs work really well, and the button lock works really well. So you can have multiple openings, right? You can do that if you wanted to. I like that. The textures, there's no really textures on here except for up here, I'd say, and there's some texturing on the button lock. I mean, that makes it nice, right? When it's down here, it makes it feel pretty, relatively comfortable. So that's pretty cool. Jimping. The jimping, I guess you could talk about. Sorry, this is jimping texture. I guess I'm thinking more of the scale. There are some that come with the texture. Sorry, but this tuba, if you can hear it, I really apologize, but it's really distracting me. Why is he practicing right when I'm doing this? Anyways, so there's no texturing on here, but the jimping is pretty aggressive. All right, so clip, you do have a little place. The clip is great. I think it works nicely. It's titanium. It flexes what I would need it to do. It's a little thin, but you know, it is what it is, and it works. The lanyard, definitely have a little lanyard hole. You can definitely put a lanyard on there. Overall feel is phenomenal. Buttery smooth. It's just phenomenally buttery smooth. Sorry. Love how this knife feels. This feels like a premium button lock. It's up there with my Sonora. Sonora is probably a little nicer. It's got more fancy milling and a bunch of extra stuff that's done on there. But this is nice. Now, once you get all the extra milling that you can get in this one, it gets up to the same price around the Sonora, I would say. So phenomenal knife for that. Overall feel is great. Fidget factor. Well, you've got a button lock that is perfect. You've got thumb studs that are perfect, both left and right hand. No issues with those thumb studs. They're absolutely phenomenal. And I would say because it's so good, and I don't have a single issue with. Normally I would give it a 4. I'm going to give it a 5 out of 5. 5 out of 5. It's just that good. 5 out of 5. The thumb studs work really well. The button lock works really well. Absolutely a 5 out of 5 for the fidget factor. And what do I say? Fidgety goodness? 100%. This is 100% when you do a button lock, USA made. I mean, it's cool that it's Les George. It's cool that it's USA made. It's cool that it's titanium. It's cool that it's Magnacut. It's cool that it's done so well. It's cool that its ergonomics are amazing. It's cool that it's just a button lock that works. But I mean, it works so well. It's 100, absolutely 100. So my overall thoughts, is it recommended? 100% recommend, 100% recommend. If you can get this, get it. Even secondary market, I would highly recommend you get one of these. That's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna definitely try to acquire one of these. All right, so, sorry guys. Trying to see if I can finish up my review here, and this is gonna be great. You're gonna hear this tuba playing, and I feel like he's playing louder and louder. Highly recommended knife. I think you should definitely, if you can get a hold of it, secondary, primary market, Definitely recommend it. All right, so what are your thoughts? Anybody own this knife? Anybody enjoy this knife? You have it in your collection? Let me know your thoughts, what you think about the knife. I would love to hear back from you guys. And, you know, if you found this content fun, interesting, informative, or entertaining, would you please consider hitting the like button down below? And if you've already hit that like button, would you please consider hitting the subscribe button? Subscribing and liking to the channel really helps me out. It allows me to produce more content, do more things, ultimately do more things for you guys. So thank you. Thank you to everyone who watches the videos, the channel, and all the content. I appreciate you guys so very, very much. If you haven't already, hit that notification button down below so you can be notified of future content like this and other future videos. Thank you. A big shout out to all my channel members. I appreciate you guys. You do two wonderful things for me. I appreciate you guys so very much. Because of the two things you do for me, I want to do two things for you. First of all, you encourage me to keep going, and you also, because of your generous memberships, you allow me to do things way sooner than I've ever been able to do. So I do two things for you. I do a once a month members exclusive giveaway. Every channel member, once a month, there's a giveaway just for channel members. It's better than a budget banger I give away every week. It's a nicer knife. I do that. The other thing is, for any brand new channel member, but also falls for anybody else. Anybody who's currently a channel member, who's never asked for a channel sticker, who's either brand new channel member, usually it's brand new channel member, but you could have been a channel member all along, or you were a channel member and became a channel member again. Any of those things apply to you. I want to say thank you. Email me with your name and address. I'd love to mail you a channel sticker and to say thank you to you guys. So that's what I try to do for my channel members. And if you haven't already, check me out over on Instagram at robs_nerdy_knives. Again, that's on Instagram at robs_nerdy_knives. Thanks so much for watching. Have a great day and a great week. Bye.